You ever stumble across something and instantly think, oh yeah, that's definitely for me? It feels like the universe lined it up just for you and your specific tastes. Every little detail checking a box in your own mix of interests and curiosities. But here's the thing, how often does that first spark actually hold up? Most recently, I had that exact feeling with Sword of the Sea. The flow of the sand surfing, the atmosphere, the music, it all felt tailor-made to hit a strangely personal curation of all of my interests at once. And I kept asking myself, was it just that first spark? Or is Sword of the Sea truly something special? At first introduction with the game, I'm taken aback. Trailers and gameplay do not do the visuals justice. The vibrancy of the colors, in combination with the gorgeous art style, is a spectacle. I'm fortunate to have experienced this on a 4K OLED monitor, and it's truly a sight to behold. The lack of a constant HUD, something I've come to appreciate when it's available, puts you in a state of full immersion. The world I'm presented with has a deep beauty augmented by loneliness. This place was once loved and thriving, and uncovering its secret history through environmental storytelling felt like a trance-like, page-turning experience. I wanted to explore every possible corner to learn more about this mesmerizing, abandoned world under my feet. Why am I here? What happened? And where did everyone go? If you're new here, my name's Tom. Welcome in. This channel is still really small, so every like, comment, and subscribe really does make a huge difference in helping it grow. Thanks for your support. It really goes a long way. Out on the horizon, there appears to be a center of the world. A waterfall pouring from the sky, or maybe it's an enormous sword? I really couldn't tell, but the image lingered in my head. What is this giant monolith splitting the sky open? And once the place had me, the next question was simple. How does it feel to move through this place? Well, the controls are buttery smooth, launching off sand waves, flipping or grabbing my board mid-air for no reason other than style, flow, and fun, gliding down hills and picking up speed. It all feels incredibly satisfying. You can tell the controls and the game feel were painstakingly tweaked to create a zero barrier between what you intend and what the Wraith does on the screen. The only time the game pushed back really was in a tight half-pipe, where the camera bumped the geometry a couple times. It's brief, but for me it was noticeable. More a tiny wrinkle than a thread to pull. And crucially, tricks don't exist to tick a box. They exist because expression is the reward. You throw a grab or you spin mid-air, not to score, but because it feels right in your hands. Straight out of the get-go, I'm introduced to a vast open world, with a small rubbled tower just out of reach. I figure out a path up, and that's where the first clue lands. A glowing orb sits at the top. I interact, and the once desolate desert beneath my feet, sand that had been eroding everything, it transforms into a beautiful, vibrant green ocean oasis with clouds of fish drifting in different colors. The music rises, violin melodies swell in heart-tugging bursts, and my path forward isn't just shown, but it's defined. This isn't a one-off flourish. It's the backbone of progression in this game. From here on, how you move and why you move start to braid together. The rhythm becomes explore a space, restore it, and then come back to see what changed. I'd sweep through an area to find secrets and currency and odd corners. Flip the world to its ocean state, then revisit it. Suddenly, the same valley reads differently. Routes you missed make sense now. Collectibles essentially respawn into new, smarter locations. It sounds simple, but it turns revisiting into curiosity instead of cleanup. And when the game chooses to speak up, it does it without a single word. The story and cutscenes are infrequent, but they land. They remind me of Genndy Tartakovsky. No dialogue really, just movement, camera choices, expressions, and sound doing all the work. I never knew what to expect from the few characters we meet or how things would resolve, but I'm happy to say they resolve in an unexpected way. The silence keeps you leaning in and lets the world feel larger than a script could make it. Speaking of who you are in all of this, the Wraith is who you guide through this journey. The game doesn't hand you a backstory. You awaken as this Wraith, and the board you ride doesn't just feel like a mechanic. It feels like a relic, something with history, weight, maybe even memory. Bits of the world's past show up in quiet places. Carvings, statues, small pockets of lore that feel more like found memories than exposition. Those ocean seeds, or orbs that you restore, don't feel like switches. They feel like rituals. Each one stitches water and color back into the ground. With every glide across the sand, every hover under an archway, I kept wondering, am I guiding the sword, or is the sword guiding me? And honestly, sometimes it felt like both. And because expression is at the heart of it all, even progression is tied to how you choose to move. There's a simple but satisfying loop around the currency. Depositing it at these mysterious characters unlocks more tricks and nuance in movement. The game doesn't shower you with it. You have to seek it out. Maybe it's a ledge off to the side, a line that asks for a little more speed, a tucked away pocket you only reach if you commit to a really huge jump. That scarcity makes progression feel earned. And because purchases are about style, each unlock feels like investing in your way of riding. Even tiny interactions evolve. For example, at first I thought I couldn't break the pots, but then I realized I needed to press the action button instead of just crashing into them or landing on top of them. The game doesn't hold your hand. It's a small thing, but it's the same design language. You poke at the edges, you try things, and the world responds around you. And when the world does open up, it does it in every direction, especially up. Finishing the first temple flips a switch. Kelp elevators rise and invite vertical exploration. Rails, bounce points, perched routes. Suddenly, the map stitches together in 3 dimensions. I explored everywhere I could get to and kept finding little secrets, which told me the game would reward that urge to wander. And that world acknowledges your progress in quiet ways that feel great. For instance, the door I first used to enter a zone later became a channel for a highway of sea life to travel across the sand. It's simple, but it sells the idea that your actions have truly changed this place. Naturally, I tried to break boundaries, because, come on, that's half the fun. At one point, I was worried I soft-locked myself because it felt like I slipped into somewhere that I didn't belong, but it turned out that I was fine. It reminded me of Super Mario Odyssey. The toolkit expects you to test the limits of the game, and the designers clearly knew we would. Those tucked away corners didn't scold me, they rewarded me with small personal moments. Like I earned them through curiosity and a little bit of stubbornness. If I zoom out on the pacing, I do have to say the middle does slow down a bit. There are stretches where repetition creeps in. Gliding, changing the world, cleansing, they're all patterns I've learned. And just when you think it might be wearing thin, the variety returns. New biomes, vertical lines, and new traversal toys. The flow clicks right back in. All the while, the music refuses to be background. It's mysterious, curious, striking, and prominent. The score swells when the water returns and life pours back in. Then it thins back out to let you coast, like it's breathing with your choices and your gameplay. All of that funnels into a final stretch that lands quietly, and somehow hits the hardest. Everything you've been doing, restoring spaces, chasing curiosity, it converges into a climax that never shouts, but it lands hard. The story and the way you move finally meet in the same breath. Momentum, verticality, the small tricks you taught yourself, all of it matters. it leads to an unexpected payoff that I'm sure will stick with me for a long time. Honestly, it's one of my favorite experiences of the year. It's a palate cleanser type game. It's short, confident, refreshingly intimate. You feel like you're actively achieving and progressing without grinding, while the game still rewards creativity and curiosity for poking into each hidden corner. And then, the bow at the end ties everything you've been doing back to why you were doing it. The feeling lasts past the final moments. Which brings me to what the game leaves behind once you set the controller down. When I think back on Sword of the Sea, what sticks isn't a single set piece or checklist. It's the feeling of motion stitched to meaning. The moment where the dunes breathe and the water returns isn't just a visual trick. It's the thesis, played in different keys. You restore the world, and the world restores you a little bit too. So who is this for? Well, if you're hunting for combat loops and branching dialogues, this probably isn't the game for you. But if you want an experience that trusts you to pay attention, something that rewards curiosity, rhythm, and your own sense of style, Sword of the Sea delivers. It's brief enough to finish in just a few sittings, yet it settles in like a memory you'll revisit. And that takes me back to the beginning, to that first spark I mentioned. So did the first, "Oh yeah, this is for me," spark hold up? Well, for me, yes, but not because the game is flawless. Over time, that early rush settled into something steadier, less infatuation, more quiet confidence. The more I played it, the more that first yes felt honest. Not a single grand crescendo, but a sequence of small, precise wins that added up to something I'll definitely remember. In the end, it wasn't a perfect first impression thing. It was a patient, accumulating yes. The kind that lingers when the screen goes dark. So, if Sword of the Sea caught your attention too, let me know what part hooked you the most. And if you want more hidden indie games like this, stick around, I've got plenty more coming. Thank you for hanging out with me. My name has been Tom, and I can't wait to see you again soon.